pretty mama with the red dress on, stiletto heels and a pink cell phone. Hey, pretty mama, if your time is free, have a half a cappuccino with me. Hey, pretty mama with the big blue eyes, you stare too long, you get hypnotized. Hey, pretty mama, if you can see, have a half a cappuccino with me. Walking on the boardwalk, holding hands with you, or lying on the beach.
Holding hands with you, dear. Hey, welcome to the show. This is Ramona. I'm Andrea. Enrich Your Life. We're here to help you do it. Does that pretty much sum it up?
Yeah, and give us another week and we'll probably know every words to the theme song.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know them already. We keep hearing the same 30 seconds over and over. That's why I know that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to have the pleasure of you singing.
Oh, yeah, not today. Okay, guys, we have a kind of a goof up on the credits. When I made them up, I was totally oblivious as to who was actually coming. No problem. Just let's roll with it, you know. At least Diane Mello is here today. Yay! Yeah. No.
Diane Mello is the new director of Madera County Art Council.
Okay. And she's friends with you?
Yes. I think it's safe to say that, yes.
Good. What, do you agree? Yes. Okay, cool. So, do you want to bring Diane first, or do you want to do something else? Since she's waiting, let's just bring her. What do you think?
All right.
Let's
welcome Diane.
Yay! Okay. Diane, let's grab this chair and slide it here.
In between?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you let Diane sit here, and you can sit on the edge, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. There we go.
Wherever you'd like.
This is called musical chairs.
Thank you.
And pull it close to the microphone here.
Yeah, okay. So, Diane, whatever possessed you to want to come on this crazy show? We don't know what we're doing. That's obvious now. There it is. I'm Andrea, by the way.
It's nice to meet you,
Nice to
Diane
meet you,
Mello.
Good to see you again, Diane.
You too. Ramona encouraged me, and she's been a great inspiration since I've come on board. I've been on board at the Madera County Art Council just over 90 days, and Ramona has been a great advocate for the council as well as getting our name out there. So she's been really helpful.
Well, thank you so much. What a wonderful plug. I would like to talk about art, and
Sure.
And it is not an exclusive. How should we say? It's not always what we think it is, and I think artists.
And it's interesting to listen and talk to people and find out what art means to them, or what it could mean to the public.
I love it. I agree. I think everything is art, but that's just me. I think buildings and trees and everything is art, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
Well, I'm going to put a little plug in here.
Oh, go for it.
Because we have our 2015 gala coming up in June, and it addresses one of the, it's going to be held at the San Joaquin Winery this year, and we're going to shake things up, and it addresses this concept of creativity and how we're all intrinsically artists. And one of the taglines that we have to promote it is creativity is intelligence having fun, by Albert Einstein. And so the whole purpose of this gala this year is to bring everybody in from the community to help contribute their ideas of what they'd like to see for the new Madera Center for the Arts, Madera County Center for the Arts. So that lends itself to the concept that Ramona and I were talking about how everybody is intrinsically an artist. And that, as you're saying, that you see art or aesthetics in everything that you experience. And I have that passion as well, and I had an interesting conversation this morning because somebody was talking about how they didn't feel they were creative at all. They felt they were artistic, but they didn't feel they were creative. And I thought, what's the difference? But, I think early on, my feeling is that we all have a sense of intuition and creativity within us. And the schools teach us so much, but we take it for granted how many employable artists are out there impacting our lives. It's not just the visual artists that we see in the museums or two-dimensional artists, but it's also the industrial designers who create everything from mugs to microphones to blenders to automobiles. And everything that we use in everyday life comes from inspiration from nature or science, these different avenues. And so it dovetails in. It seems like society is now getting on board with integrating all of the science and the math and the engineering that they've been doing for a while, and now art. Art is not just created for art's sake, which some people would probably slap my hand for saying that they shouldn't be. And there's also a place for that, but I think it's wonderful that they're bringing it into the schools and bringing a broader range of things. So,
Isn't that one of the things that Madera Art Council does?
yes, we have.
It's called a PACE program?
Not at this time. In the past, there was the PACE program.
Okay.
Now we have an after-school Art to the Schools program, and we have teachers that go out to different grade levels at Madera Unified School District. And they are teachers or artists themselves that are teaching art or ceramics or music. And so that gives the children the after-school experience if they want to choose to go. And we're also branching out into daytime programs at some of the schools around there as well for interested schools.
Is that because schools don't offer art the way they used to? I mean, in the olden days, you had to go to art whether you wanted to or not. Now, I don't think you can go. I'm thinking they cut back so many programs.
So many of the programs
Okay.
were cut back.
Yeah.
And so this was our effort. From what I understand, as I said, I'm a new kid on the block with Madera County Art Council, but this is our effort to make sure that the children still have that exposure. And thank goodness,
Good.
because I think that, in my opinion, it's narrow. Teaching students how art is used in the world and what they can do as they go forward past high school is narrowly taught, and I like to see them expand all the purposes of art, fine art, commercial art.
I love it. I think when I was at UC Santa Barbara, I met the lady who designed the parking structure, which is probably the best parking structure in the universe. And it's an art form. It was beautifully designed so you could get your car in and out with no log jams, because when you went all the way up to the top, it would take you all the way back down to the bottom, and you wouldn't run into anybody. It was great. And I love to watch them building freeways and things like that. It's amazing that you can take a material as dense as concrete and shape it the way that you can. And to me, I love that stuff. I don't know.
Oh, and that brings all of the elements of physics and engineering and all of that combined with design and architecture and that whole cliche of form follows function. And then that leads into, a larger scale of ergonomics and how things are made for purpose, for people, for comfort, for driving and all of that.
Right.
So art and design and music and the aesthetics of it all permeate all avenues of our lives, and I think we take it for granted. Yeah.
I do too.
Oh, I love that. It sounds like we're all pretty much in sync with what art means, or an expanded view of art.
Right.
But what would you just say to someone who said, well, I'm not an artist? And I get that a lot, and I hear with what breaks my heart, I've worked in after-school programs teaching art, when kids say, I can't do that before they even try, or they're afraid of it somehow, or have been intimidated by it, and yet art pops up. I mean, you can't stop creativity. It's going to come out in some way in lives, because that's we respond to it. It's energy. I don't want to get too metaphysical here, but it does. Creativity is energy, and it's how we use energy. Let's to be more precise. So anyway, what would you say to that?
Do you want to go first, Joe?
Oh, well, I don't know why. First of all, kids are usually great. Usually if you ask a kindergartner, can you sing, dance, and paint, they say yes, yes.
All at the same time.
By the time they're 8, they're like, I don't know what's up with that, but again, it's like a energy plug. Somebody put the plug in, because I think we don't come out of the birth canal afraid to create. I just don't think that, So that's my answer. I dare you to come up with one better than that,
She's an improv. She's the improv.
ahead, though.
Would it be wonderful if
Yeah.
that wasn't inhibited?
Right.
Who knows? I think that's really a broader, wider, more complex discussion than we'll have time for today. I think there's a lot of reasons that the creative energy process may or may not be inhibited. Coming from myself, a working class background with people who had immigrants, and all of them were hard workers. And I think there's a practical sense that when you are raised in a family or an environment or a culture that teaches you've got to be practical, then sometimes art gets labeled as a luxury
Okay.
in society, and therefore it's hard to receive or give that support to nurture that, because there's concern of how will you make a living, how will you sustain
Right.
yourself. And yet people go beyond that, they break out of that and they create that. And then there are others that are nurtured from the beginning. So that's a very, we could take a whole 4 sessions talking about the
Well,
complexity
we probably
of
will.
that.
We just might.
We just might take you up on that. Yeah.
How do you become inhibited, and how do you
Right.
keep that energy flowing?
Right.
I'm sure that's, and I'm coming from a two-dimensional commercial fine art perspective, but I'm
Right.
sure that is also affected by musicians and artists of all mediums.
Yeah.
Well, one of the games that I played with kids who would put up the walls and say, I can't do this, it's say, well, I want you to pretend you can't make a mistake. And wonder if we did that as adults.
Wow, that'd be awesome.
If we didn't worry about failure.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother strata.
That
Right.
is.
Of discussion
That is.
and impact, yes.
Yes.
I think that inhibits people. People who feel that all they can do is do stick figures, well, there could be some pretty creative things.
Sticks,
There's
yeah.
judgment. I think there's
Yeah,
judgments
yeah.
that's put on, and it's complex. I'm
Right.
repeating myself, but it's complex
Yes.
according to the different people who value art and appraise art and go forward of what's important in life. I'm trying to be diplomatic. But that's what I'm thinking.
See, the thing is, everybody's
different
got their
perspectives.
camp of advocacy. So,
Right, there you
know,
go.
if you're an advocate for art, of course, your mortal enemy is people that don't like it or try to push it down. But the reality is, we're all on this together. It's not us versus them. I don't know why I am the way I am. I just think that I've always liked outer things. I don't know why, but I guess nobody stopped me.
Well,
you know?
I think if we started eliminating things that were created by artists, and we walked around in the world and eliminated those things, I think that's something to imagine as well. Imagine if you could do something without failing. Imagine if you could do something without anything that had any aesthetic nature to it, whether it was the environment or the pieces of
Well, you
art or
can't,
clothing or anything.
I mean, the whole world is aesthetic.
Yes.
You know, remember that picture of a tree that you had? She had this picture of a tree, and what it was is just this big old broken down tree with no leaves on it. It was totally all browned out.
It looked like
it looked like it was
a
dead.
dead tree. It
Yeah.
looked like it had been hit by lightning.
Oh,
but it looked
okay.
like a sculpture. And especially if you saw it during certain times of the day, it was just amazing because it was stripped of all the foliage. And the trunk was twisted, and it had like fabric, different colors woven into the bark and the outside surface.
Oh, right.
And
So
maybe
that
some of it was
detail,
starting
yeah.
to peel back. Oh, yes. And it was just, it caught your eye. It was just one of those things. Yes.
So we think you could go through life without aesthetics. I don't think that's possible. I kind of think that our brains are hardwired to look for some kind of aesthetic. And usually it goes back to the plains in Africa where there's a lot of grass. Have you noticed how people recreate the plains?
One
Okay,
minute.
thank you. I always talk too much, sorry. But anyway, speaking of which, let me ask you something. I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you if you can stay for another segment. Yeah, if you have time.
Sure.
Because I was so crazy and goofed up, and I stayed up all night working on the credits. I was so proud. I finally finished, and the first time I did the credits it took me 15 hours. Then this week it only took me like 8 hours, and it's a 30-second spot, okay? So we're not, obviously it's a learning curve. We just
For all of us.
hope and pray that this doesn't go on forever.
Oh, Andrea, you're going
Oh,
to be.
I'm off, huh? We're off.
Yeah, you're
Are
okay.
we off? Okay, bye.
You're going to be so.
Brought to you by DeChico's Restaurant and Lounge in Clovis. Hold your party or event at DeChico's. Visit DeChico's at Clovis Avenue and 5th Streets in Old Town Clovis.
Do you need help caring for a loved one? If you are a family caregiver and need a much-needed break, or you need help establishing in-home care, Amdahl can help. At Amdahl In-Home Care, our primary focus is to foster maximum independence, dignity, and safety for our clients while they enjoy familiar surroundings. For all of your home care needs, call Amdahl In-Home Care at 888-798-0008 or find us on the web at amdahlinhome.com.
In 1985, Larry Korth set out to help his friends, family, and community find affordable ways to buy a home or a business property. 30 years later, Mid-Valley Financial is the premier mortgage banker in the Central Valley. The professional staff at Mid-Valley will find the best mortgage products for your family. Mid-Valley Financial takes great pride in being the Central Valley's local lender. Visit us at midvalleyfinancial.com.
Future Prospects Baseball invites you to visit their state-of-the-art facility. Our coaches have years of professional experience that can help you improve your baseball or softball skills in private or group lessons. Drop by for the day or become a monthly or yearly member or join one of our age-appropriate travel teams. Bring your future prospects by weekdays from 3 to 9 p.m. or noon to 5 on weekends. Future Prospects Baseball, 5125 North Gates, just north of Shaw Avenue, or call 274-9930. Find us on the web at futureprospectscentral.com.
You have sleep questions? Mattress Land Sleep Fit has real answers. Oh, I feel like people need a map to find their way around some mattress stores.
No, what people actually need is BedFit. It's a diagnostic system that maps your body for you. It measures your height, your weight, your distribution of weight. It actually measures your lumbar curve and how flexible that is, along with a little bit of pain questions, and we're going to find the right fit for you.
The right fit for me?
The right fit for you.
Shouldn't have bought that GPS.
Yeah, it was probably a bad move on your part.
Mattress Land Sleep Fit. The right bed, the right experience, the right price.
For all of your real estate needs, call Mike Briggs Properties, 559-486-6758, or check us out at MikeBriggsProperties.com.
When someone you love needs more assistance in daily life than you can offer, think Magnolia Park Assisted Living in Visalia. Serving the Valley for more than a decade, Magnolia Park is a life-affirming community, offering healthcare on a personalized level, a proactive lifestyle suited to individual ability, along with spiritual enrichment. Residents and their families are cared for with respect and knowledge of aging, infirmity, or memory loss. Our professional staff believes every resident has the right to love, laughter, compassion, and most of all, dignity. Schedule your tour today at MagnoliaParkAssistedLiving.net.
Central.
Gina with me, walking on the boardwalk, holding hands with you, or lying on the beach under sultry moon. The ocean gives a notion that we cannot protest. Have a cappuccino, let me tell you the rest.
We're here with Diane Mello. She's taking the place of the 3 other people that aren't coming today. Thank God. You have been recruited. We're fine.
We'll
We're
see
fine.
how it goes.
That's okay.
Diane Mello is the
Yeah.
new executive director of Madera County Art Council. We are happy to have her and relieved. We
Yay!
are so
At least somebody came. Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Well, we think we only have one listener anyway, so we're not that worried about it. But you know.
Well, we have lots to share that's going on, so let's keep going forward.
Yeah, let's go forward.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Well, we're talking about our favorite subject, which is art, and making some interesting conversation and some distinctions. I would like to see art more accessible to people. I would like to see the gallery, it's called the Circle Gallery. It's the only gallery in the Flatland area of Madera County. I would like to see it draw more people. And what would that take? Some kind of incentive, I think, to walk through the door, particularly for people that have never been there, first-time visitors. And also to find out what has interest to people and what has meaning to people. So,
Well, I think that is a hot topic for the Madera County Art Council and for Circle Gallery, because again, as new kid on the block, I'm hearing all different kinds of interests. And of course, we have welcomed artists who have become gallery artists, who are emerging artists and who are developing their skills. And we also have definite popular exhibitions. The Celebrate Ag was started 30 years ago, and there's a large ag community of interest there. And so that is art that celebrates the heritage, and represents in two-dimensional, three-dimensional, celebrates the heritage of agriculture and the history of its people. And this year we had a human interest component as well, which was great because it was cross-cultural as well as intergenerational. And then Ramona again helped assist us bring it to CMAC, Community Media Access Collaborative, and they allowed us to expand the viewing of selected pieces for 2 more months through the end of January.
How do they do that? Is it a grant or who is CMAC? What do they do exactly?
You know, what I have learned about CMAC, it's a fabulous resource to Fresno and Clovis. And they have a partnership with Fresno and Clovis to offer, I hope I'm accurate at this, several radio stations under the PEG. It's Public Education Government Stations. So each one is a different topic. Right. And they have, as membership, you can join, and if you are a resident of Clovis or Fresno, and you can use all of their professional equipment. You can do voiceovers, you can create your own advertisements and programs and documentaries, and then you have the outlet to produce your pieces and share it with the public.
Yes, comparable to Central Valley Talk, which is technology allows us to create programs at a lesser cost than the big stations.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, we're able to do what we're doing here today, is bring local interest, talk about local activities, and this sort of thing, and bring it to local audience and expand from there.
Right. And so this year, the benefit of having Celebrate Ag travel to CMAC was to bring it into a sister neighborhood that also exposes the fact that it has brought so many artists, that we had so many people submit art, that we had artists exhibit from all the way north of Davis and all the way south down to San Clemente. So it's a broad interest, broad topics, and so that is definitely one component in interest level. We also have the youth art exhibit that is going to be coming in March, and that is the students gather and they bring as many pieces as possible to the gallery. Youth Art Month for the whole month of March will be focused on the artists from the high schools in the areas.
Cool.
And of course, we're also going to be promoting Art Fest, which was the first year last year. And so that is something else that Madera County Art Council does, is it tries to be the go-to place that's for all of the cultural, visual, and performing arts activities that are going on in the area, so that we can support all of the organizations as collaboration. We also have partnerships with gallery artists at Circle Gallery, and that pay a certain fee to be able to hang their work, or they get a commission. And so there will be, because I'm new on board and there's a variety of things that are going on, I'd like to see things rotate more frequently. I'd like to see more diversity, and of course the community is asking for more diversity as well. So there's a balance of tradition and progressive and youth, and so we're trying to reach out into different components, to different areas and different venues, to see how we can expand Circle Gallery's offerings. We're hoping to begin our pop-ups. One of our board member, Adam Mena, is going through the teacher's credential program at Madera High South, which is a fabulous school. They have a fabulous, Todd is a fabulous principal out there who supports the arts. And and believes in the value of every single student and creativity and bridging that gap from high school into college into being an employable artist and showing the possibilities and potential. So we're fortunate enough to have Adam Mena, who's runs Art House in Fresno, and he's going to be working with us creating cultural events for pop-ups. So all of this takes time, and we'll be...
What's a pop-up?
A pop-up is something that is announced in a specific area, and it tends to have, classically some of them have food trucks, and there's music, and it supports all of the cultural event for that one 24-hour period, and it brings the youth in. And so I would like to reach out to all generations and access the underserved, as well as everybody who's established. And of course, we're, right now with the NEA and California Art Council, that is, again, a hot topic and a great avenue of support, because they are asking all of us to reach out to all of the people who don't know how to reach art in whatever mediums.
Right.
So it's a real good climate right now for all of our organizations to be creating as many opportunities for our communities as possible.
Yeah, pop kind of sounds like a big party all around art, where you can kind of
Or a
celebrate
cultural
and have fun and get to know art and hopefully stop being so afraid of it,
Oh, I love that.
That's really...
Right?
There's a concept. Let's not be afraid
Let's not
of
be
art.
afraid of it. It's nothing mysterious. I think that we look at these paintings that sell for millions of dollars, and I think maybe because of that, no wonder people are afraid and think, oh, I can't do that. It's like you'd have to be kind of daring to get out there and put your figure up on the wall next to a Picasso that's going for millions and millions. But, I don't know, psychologically, art is supposed to be fun. That's my point of view. That's the only reason for it. And if you like your Picasso and you've got $10 million, go for it. Pick one up, But I don't think the rest of us should worry about it all that much. I just think it's an expression. It's fun,
But it is a vulnerability. Artists are more vulnerable than other professions.
True.
It takes really tapping into different sides of ourselves that a lot of other professions are not less valued in society, but don't necessarily require that connection to themselves or their purpose.
So it's personal.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's personal.
it's personal.
And you're putting yourself out there.
Yes. Well, let's talk
definitely.
about the European attitude toward art and artists versus the Western, which is a newer, well,
Culturally.
let's talk about, I think my impression of France and the way that art was treated, there's a long history of acceptance, that it's a dignified, accepted role, even when you're out in the plaza or plaza or whatever, wherever you are.
Le Place.
Yes, and with your easel that's chained to, they have these little stations out in the plazas, and I'm thinking of different areas outside Paris where they clip a chain to their easel and they're out there painting, and people surround them and they sit down and they watch them.
So the environment is set up to always expect to see art.
Yes.
And a place to create your art
Yes.
is really mainstream
Yes.
in society.
Right.
Yes. Well, you see that art in the food. I went in the most hole-in-the-wall underground cafes that were dark and no questionable ambiance, with the most delectable food presented so beautifully. These funky little pubs where they have homemade bread and lovely aromas. You walk by the door and you smell the lovely smell of baking bread and the pride I saw expressed. And in Portugal, there's a lot of pride around, and this is going to sound funny, the cemetery gardens with
Beautiful,
live flowers,
right?
absolutely beautiful. And some of them are only, a quarter block, wide, just little. And where, people will spend a lifetime just nurturing, the flowers, so that they're beautiful when you come to visit.
Beautiful. That's great.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
So,
I don't know if we have to. Michael, how are we doing on time?
About 3 seconds.
30 seconds? Okay, so when we come back, I want to ask you more about the Celebrate Ag, because I don't think most people listening would know. I believe that's an art show that was at the Circle.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that when we get back, and I'm sure we have plenty of other stuff to get out of you.
You're good with this? We're
We're
compressing.
commandeering your life, so, you know.
I'm here. So
What the heck? You already drove here.
That's right.
May as well.
This segment brought to you by Black Living Water, your one-stop source for all of your health and energy needs. Black MP makes up for nutrients lost to filtering, pasteurization, and processing, and it provides the probiotics and humic and fulvic minerals that can lead to optimized functioning of all the body's cells and systems, increased energy levels, and overall enhanced health and well-being. A scoop of Black MP in 16 ounces of water once or twice a day can help you achieve your health and performance goals. For more information, go to our website, blackmp.net, or call us at 559-799-9879.
Are you currently shopping for solar? Give Solar Negotiators a call. You see, what they do is they fill downtime at a reduced rate to make sure that you always get the best deal. Don't find out later that you could have bought your solar for thousands of dollars less. Call Solar Negotiators.
If you're looking to go solar with confidence and have someone represent you in this transaction, give Solar Negotiators a call at 844-OWN-SOLAR or visit solarnegotiators.com.
For all of your real estate needs, call Mike Briggs Properties, 559-486-6758, or check us out at MikeBriggsProperties.com.
For Italian cuisine, you've grown up knowing that DiCicco's in Clovis has the best. Now, for grown-ups, DiCicco's Lounge at Clovis and 4th in downtown Clovis for your after-work relaxation and all of your special events needs. DiCicco's Clovis Lounge.
You have sleep questions? Mattress Land Sleep Fit has real answers. Oh, I feel like people need a map to find their way around some mattress stores.
No, what people actually need is BedFit. It's a diagnostic system that maps your body for you. It measures your height, your weight, your distribution of weight. It actually measures your lumbar curve and how flexible that is, along with a little bit of pain questions, and we're going to find the right fit for you.
The right fit for me?
The right fit for you.
Shouldn't have bought that GPS.
Yeah, it was probably a bad move on your part.
Mattress Land Sleep Fit. The right bed, the right experience, the right price.
In 1985, Larry Korth set out to help his friends, family, and community find affordable ways to buy a home or a business property. 30 years later, Mid-Valley Financial is the premier mortgage banker in the Central Valley. The professional staff at Mid-Valley will find the best mortgage products for your family. Mid-Valley Financial takes great pride in being the Sun Valley's local lender. Visit us at midvalleyfinancial.com.
Viewers of Central Valley Talk, what is your home worth? The experienced agents of Mike Briggs Properties are offering a free property valuation if you mention Central Valley Talk. Find the value of your property for free. Call Mike Briggs Properties at 486-6758. Mention Central Valley Talk. Mike Briggs Properties, 486-6758.
No pretty baby can't tell you no lies. Someday we'll go to Reno, but now a cappuccino while the seagulls go flying by. Hey, pretty mama with the gypsy smile, toe-cut shoes, Egyptian style. Hey, pretty mama, make you happy.
Andrew to my right, and our guest today is Diane Mello, the Executive Director of Madera County Art Council.
The esteemed executive director of the Madera Arts Council.
For 90 days.
Yes.
It's been fantastic and fabulous and a
You're
flurry.
such a newcomer here.
Yeah, there's a lot of newcomers. It's actually an exciting time in Central Valley. There's a lot of new executive directors coming on board with Hugh Ralston at Fresno Regional Foundation and just all over. All over.
It's marvelous.
Valley Cultural Coalition has been a great resource. There's a lot of new people that are coming in and out there. Fabulous resource.
Wow. I've not heard of some of these groups that you're talking about. I think it's great that somebody's really advocating for the arts because, like you were saying before, a lot of people are just focused on what's utilitarian. But I think we'd probably have a lot more murders if we didn't have art around. I mean, honestly, people, we need to have some fun and we need to have some stimulating thought. Like what you were saying in France, they expect to see art in the Place, you know. when you go out there, you see the people out there painting, and they're out in nature. You know, they're not sitting behind a cubicle 100 hours a week, you know, struggling for a breath of air, you know. I mean, we have to have something.
Well,
to help.
definitely. Is that a question of our society and how hard the American work ethic is expected of us, you know, versus the holidays that are expected for quality of life in Europe. I have family that's over in Berlin as well as Portugal and Sicily, and that does come up. And people have visited from Belgium, and they're amazed at how hard we work over here. And so they have the time to. Of course, they have close proximity to travel. Anyone who's traveled in Europe, they have the close proximity to be exposed to so many cultural resources and such diversity, and learn how to get along, because their borders are so close, and they have that exposure. And we don't have that. And you know, that's what the arts bring in. The arts bring in history and aesthetics and cultural diversity and mediums and forms of expression. And so without it, what would we have if we didn't have any of those components?
I think life would be really boring if we didn't have any art. Hence the crime rise, you know, that I would foresee.
Well,
what do you think?
I have a friend who is a counselor who will often recommend art to counterbalance addiction. That we need we need that creative outlet. We need something pulling us forward in a creative, non-destructive way. And without that, in fact, she made a comparison. Without that, scary things can happen. And she talked about a man who was one of her clients, no names given, of course, who was masterful at creating beautiful patterns and floors and this sort of thing. And then he had a gambling problem. But anyway, she said that when the creative outlet was diminished, the problem seemed to be expanded. And when he focused on the art, the problem over here was lessened. And I thought, well, it's an interesting concept. I don't know what I think of that, but I thought it was interesting.
So that's a documented situation. In other words, his addiction was less of a problem when he was actively engaged in art.
When he was actively engaged in art, it was a way he was directing his thoughts and his energy and making himself feel good.
Right. Okay.
And I think we need that. We all need something that inspires us, that makes us feel good. And I think we have artistic preferences. Not that one is better than another, but I think we make those judgments in our mind.
Well, I'm just thinking with this example of there's different philosophies and perspectives of things, and how if somebody's suppressing, how it's going to, whatever's going on within us is going to come out, and the energy is going to come out in one way or another. So if there isn't I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a society's acceptable way, but if there isn't maybe a natural way or an uninhibited way, or I don't know,
Are you looking for like an outlet, energy?
There needs to be some type of
some
energy
kind?
outlet for this cliche of balance in our life. And I think the arts does do that. It does offer that venue to bring it out. Now, that's not to say that that's not the only purpose, but there is a part of the process that artists naturally understand. The process is very important. And it's that process that is very healing when it's applied in very different ways.
But can you explain what you mean by process? Are you talking about physically putting paint, or are you talking about an internal kind of process where you have to figure out what you're going to do? And
I think it's both.
Or is it
I'll give
both?
you an example of my own personal experience of translating from traditional mediums to digital mediums. If I'm working over my board, whether it was the days of paste up with using mechanicals and mechanical devices to create fonts and things like that. There was still a process. If I was drawing and illustrating or painting, there was a process that was flowing through what I was seeing and what I was synthesizing and how it was coming through my feeling and as well as my thoughts, and is coming out through my hand. And there is a flow and a natural process for corrections or adaptations or that. When I translate those same skills and want to achieve the same effect for an end result of a piece of art, and I'm using digital medium, there is a entirely different process, because creating art for video games required different types of hardware and software, and that software is created by programmers, and programmers think very differently, very linearly. So if I have a piece of software and I want to have an effect take place, I'm having to go in and click and drop down menus and thinking, it's a completely different aspect of my brain that is formulating the combinations. And so the process that's traditional, that I'm accustomed to, that flows naturally, is now more mechanical. It can still happen, but it's a big adjustment to do that. And it's a completely different tool, and that's the way that I approached it. This was a completely different tool that took a different approach, and therefore was not as fulfilling. I would get a different type of an effect, and I had a lot of benefits of it, because you can correct easily, you can save renditions, you can do all of that. But there's something beautiful about the actual process of working over a board or in a medium, and you have no control, and there's a certain sense of it that takes over, and it becomes its own piece, and it's less controlled. So
I think that's probably what most people think of when they think of art, is a kind of a hands-on process, whether it's sculpture or painting
or dance.
Or, exactly.
Or creating a composition of music,
right,
a score, or something.
And that you're guided by your feelings. So if you do something and it doesn't feel right, you just tweak it a little bit.
Or your environment or your experiences. Or
But, so I just wonder, like, do you think the digital capabilities are opening up the art world to more people because they're comfortable with the digital processes?
I think it's changing the process.
Okay, so
I think there's been a change similar to other changes with technology and industrialism. I think that I think that a lot of craftsmanship is lost sometimes. The craftsmanship. Let me step back. When the digital age took over and everybody had multiple fonts that we could order and download to our computers, it gives us so much variety and ease at our fingertips.
When you say font, I think of a letter. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yes, a font is a family of letters developed in a certain style.
Okay.
So you have your Times New Roman. Your
so when if you're illustrating a book, you can pick whatever font you want. Is that what you're talking about? I don't see how a font relates to art, honestly, to be honest.
It is a...
Okay, I don't get it.
There you go.
Right?
Because development of fonts used to be an incredible craftsman skill.
Oh, okay.
And
not unlike calligraphy.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And only it's done digitally.
There are, it used to be, go back to the days of setting type, go back to the days of setting up your galleys for press and all of that. There was an art to creating the different fonts for the different expressions of how the article is going to read, the thicks and the thins of the lines, and how they're developed and how they produce on the page for reading and for what purpose they read. And so you look back at a lot of the manuscripts that are all hand illustrated.
Right, beautiful.
Beautiful craftsmanship and art. When you're developing, Saul Bass was somebody who used to be a designer and who designed a lot of logos and a lot of font families. So there's thousands of font families out there. And the art of creating a font and how type looks on a page and how it gives a subtle impact, whether it's for any type of identity or collateral piece. There's a whole psychological approach to that to make something effective and different and unique. And So back to your question of how has that changed, I think that it's similar to if you're working over your board and you're mixing colors for today's sake, you've got your illustration board and you have your watercolor, your acrylic, your gouache, whatever, and you're working on those colors and seeing how they're mixing together. And you translate that over to trying to have that same effect with a palette. You have a palette with your paintbrush and that, but you go to a digital palette and maybe you have 16 colors that you have to work with.
Right.
Then you're working with a whole different component and perspective of how to make maybe 6 skin colors so that all of your characters in your digital piece has a variety. So now you're still applying color theory, but in 2 different ways.
Right.
And but at the end result is how is the person going to experience that piece of artwork?
Right.
And so I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yes, because I think if you have a font that you designed, and when you're done printing the book or whatever, and you look at it and feel good about the way it has a vibe to it, is what I'm saying. So if you feel satisfied when you look at the book, then you know you've contributed, you know, and you also know that you're going to affect every single person that reads that book because they're going to pick up on it. And I'm really pretty sure that even subtle differences, they create a different feeling that corresponds with that difference. So if you're writing a murder mystery, you might want a different font than a romance, or something like that.
Or if you're creating books, Merlin, I'm going to put a plug in for Merlin Ray, who is a professor, and she graduated from Fresno State, a master's in creative writing as well as in the printmaking department. She has blended the creation of books and bookbinding with printed material and fonts and art and writing. There's a whole craft to it, a whole craftsmanship to it.
Well, I've noticed lately, and I never used to see this, but now on certain books I see this is font number such and so, named whatever it is, by so-and-so. They actually give credits now. They didn't used to.
Yeah, they always have.
Oh, well, then I've never noticed it until recently,
But to answer your question, I think what has happened is that the digital age has improved a lot of things because it's sped up.
We have like 30 seconds. How are we doing 30 seconds?
It has sped up, but it's also diluted the craftsmanship and the appreciation. So everybody thinks they can be a designer, or everybody thinks they can be an illustrator, or you know, and there's a lot more to it. I have strong feelings about that.
Stand by for our next segment.
This segment brought to you by Amdel In-Home Care. If you have a family member who needs a little assistance or full-time care, contact Amdel In-Home Care.
Can't find a copier or printer that fits your needs? Are the costs for printing just too high? A+ Business Systems focuses on what you need. A+ Business Systems will reduce downtime with automated alerts via email, notifying us when your printer is low on supplies. All low, affordable monthly costs. Have you ever had a desk looking like this? A+ Business Systems will set up paperless office electronic document management software where you store every important document. With A+, there's no worry about digging through archived documents. Our electronic filing system provides the speed and efficiency to search and retrieve documents to meet the demands of modern-day businesses. Learn more about A+ Business Systems, software, services, and more at apluscopiers.net or call us at 559-442-3564.
Black MP makes up for nutrients lost to filtering, pasteurization, and processing, and it provides the probiotics and humic and fulvic minerals that can lead to optimized functioning of all the body's cells and systems, increased energy levels, and overall enhanced health and well-being. A scoop of Black MP in 16 ounces of water once or twice a day can help you achieve your health and performance goals. For more information, go to our website, blackmp.net, or call us at 559-799-9879.
You enter this door with expired tags. Beyond is another dimension, a dimension of regulations, a dimension of long waits. You have reached the registration zone. What looks like an ordinary shop is actually Mitchell Smog, located in the heart of the Tower District, a few minutes from the DMV. Mitchell Smog offers your vehicle a STAR-certified smog inspection. So remember Mitchell Smog when you need to pass through the registration zone.
In 1985, Larry Korth set out to help his friends, family, and community find affordable ways to buy a home or a business property. 30 years later, Mid-Valley Financial is the premier mortgage banker in the Central Valley. The professional staff at Mid-Valley will find the best mortgage products for your family. Mid-Valley Financial takes great pride in being the Central Valley's local lender. Visit us at midvalleyfinancial.com.
Are you currently shopping for solar? Give solar negotiators a call. You see, what they do is they fill downtime at a reduced rate to make sure that you always get the best deal. Don't find out later that you could have bought your solar for thousands of dollars less. Call Solar Negotiators.
If you're looking to go solar with confidence and have someone represent you in this transaction, give Solar Negotiators a call at 844-OWN-SOLAR or visit solarnegotiators.com.
Welcome back. This is the Ramona and Andrea show. Our guest today is Diane Mello, the Executive Director of Madera Art Council.
Madera County Art Council.
Madera County Art Council. Thank you
yeah,
for the
right.
correction.
I'm sorry.
That's
All
okay.
that's my big spiel these days, all county, all inclusive.
Yes.
I love it.
Diane, I would like to know what drives your passion in art. And you're playing a leading role now from Madera County, but you started as a commercial artist too.
Let's see, my very first art job was in the education department. No, let me take that back. My very first art job was for a landlord in an apartment complex who had a gigantic paper mache globe that fit in the back of his El Camino, and it was used to hang in the center of the ballroom at the Queen Mary in Long Beach for the international cake competition, and he needed an artist to paint the world on it.
Oh my gosh.
And I lived on the third floor of the Love Boat apartment complex. Because we had the pool in the center.
Right.
And so, and that was my first paid position down in the basement of that art complex. He drove it in for me to paint that. And then hung it in the big ballroom. And I was beginning to go to art school at that time, and I always knew I was drawn towards the arts. And my family took me to a lot of the theater and the museums. That was part of our lifestyle, living in the East Bay and San Francisco Bay Area. So I was always exposed to that, even though I came from a traditional background. And so being able to create art was something that I just took for granted. Didn't know how to have life without that creative aspect. And so I was always finding ways to be creative, very imaginative as a child, whether it was converting the entire garage during the winter months to types of places that we could invite all the kids over.
I bet your parents loved you.
And yes, we used our tennis rackets for guitars, and we charged each kids $0.25 to come in and see our concerts. And we played the record behind the curtain. So there was always these imaginative types of creative play that was going on. Creative play is something that I think we should talk about, because I think that's something that gets discouraged.
That's a key. Yeah.
But creative play is really important. So I've always been drawn to it. And I was heading towards careers in humanities, working with people, speech pathology and psychology. And I saw an art class at American River College and needed some electives, and saw a friend, and she was doing some work, and I thought I could do that. I just knew I could do that. So I took the class, and it was John Kaneko was the professor there, who said, "What are you doing going into other avenues? You should be doing this." That opened a door that validated what my passion was for, and then he sent me to different colleges to research and experience from Southern California to Northern California. So I ended up at Long Beach State, and then that opened another door of fine arts and commercial arts. So one way or another, no matter how broke I've been, which is sad for artists,
Right.
But my parents always used to say, you never have any money, but you always have enough for books and art supplies. And it's true, and that's what I thrive on, libraries and art museums and any kind of cultural types of things. That keeps me alive. And so I ended up in an executive position after I had a journey from going through fine art and graphic arts at Long Beach State and then Academy of Art in San Francisco, which was at that time affordable and very advantageous because they taught the business side and the technique side as well as the aesthetic side. And they exposed us to a lot.
Yeah.
Every class had a companion lab class. And if we had a nude or a clothed figure class, we had nude and clothed models throughout the campus, and our tuition paid for us to be able to go to open drawing sessions throughout the city. So you could walk into any type of place that was set up in advance, and you could draw for another 3 to 4 hours. And it was included, and that was a lot of exposure. So I think as doors opened, I just continued to walk through those doors because I was drawn in that direction. We're drawn towards what we want to do. And we were talking off camera about the fact that that a lot of us artists are willing to be out there, and because we're fulfilling this desire to do this and we have a purpose and we understand the value, how many times we're willing to do it without being compensated for it. And the downside of it is that artists are very vulnerable, and it plays into the fact that we can get taken advantage of and that we aren't employable, and it feeds into well, you'll do this for free, or you'll do this for nothing, or and it's a very hard row to hoe. When I started creating commercial art, the other question you asked is if you go into commercial art or into administrative types of position in art, how do I
can you still do
can you
art?
still do it?
Yeah.
And the question is, you don't not do it because you have to do it, and
because you
have to have
personally
that.
feel like you have to do it, or is there some reason on the job that if you don't keep your hand in, they're going to kick you out, or is it an inner
No,
motivation
it's
or an outer?
It's an inner motivation that is if there isn't that creative outlet going on, it's a craving that takes place. I can
You could end up like that addicted guy. Yeah, you have to do art or else.
That's right. You have to. Yeah.
How can you not?
So I think that there are lessons. Yes, I think there's lessons to be learned about valuing artists, but I also think it's the artist's responsibility to not buy into what society says and to treat their skill as valuable and their knowledge base as valuable, and what they contribute to society as valuable, and that there's nothing wrong with being compensated for it, and that they should be employable. And it's the artist's responsibility to educate the public on that and say we are giving you something that is valuable. We have 1 minute. So
well, with all the people in the world that say they can't do art, you would think that artists would get a lot of money for what they do. I mean, if 90% of the people think that they can't do it,
and so
then you should be getting paid to do it,
And so why is that?
Right.
Why is that for such artists? They're such a valuable commodity. Valued for so little.
If
Why
none
is
of the
that?
rest of us can do it, I mean, to me, it's like, look, if somebody draws a picture for me or something that I need, like a logo or something, I expect to pay for it because I can't do it. I know for sure. So why waste my time?
And all of these reasons are why we need art education.
So true.
No matter
on many
who
levels.
we are. Yes.
On many
From
levels.
children through adulthood. It's never ending.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you for having me.
You've been such an awesome
Thank
guest.
you for
We love
having me.
you. I I hope you come back again.
I will. I'll come
Thank you.
back.
Yeah,
We'll focus on
definitely.
other things. Thank you
All right,
very much.
guys. Hopefully next week we'll have the guests that we were going to have or whatever. We'll
The
figure it
guest
out.
that we promised. Oh, we have some good ones
I just
coming.
want to tell you, if you read the credits on this show, just take it with a grain of salt, okay?
I'm Diane.
Yeah, she is Diane Mello.
She gets the
And
credit.
she is on the credit. But the other two rescheduled. I didn't know it, and oh well. Sorry.
And
What can I
come to
do?
the gala.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
June 25th from 5:30 to 9 at the San Joaquin Valley, San Joaquin Winery. We'll be sending out
Oh, I'll be at the
e-blasts
winery.
and
Yeah.
everything. We're going to shake it up.
Yay! Have fun with art.
Yes.
Enrich your life. Have fun with art.
Come give us ideas of what you want in
Yeah.
the Center for Creativity.
Good idea.
Not Center for Creativity. Madera County Center for the Arts. Sorry about that. I
Okay.
worked for Center
Say
for
it one more time so if somebody's listening.
Madera County
Center,
Center for
of
the Arts. Yes.
Okay.
She is very creative.
And Madera County Art Council. All county, all inclusive. Everybody has value to bring to the
Yes,
table.
and as an artist, you are worthy.
That's exactly
You know what?
right. That's exactly
It's like
right.
Stuart
I love
Smalley
it.
said,
I
you
love it.
are worthy, okay?
I love it. I love it.
All right, cool. Thanks so much. Michael, we have to thank you again for being a great person. Thank you for putting up with us. Say goodbye? Yeah, okay, goodbye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Michael says say goodbye, goodbye. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, pretty mama with the red dress on, stiletto heels and a pink cell phone. Hey, pretty mama, if your time is free, have a cappuccino with me. Hey, pretty mama with the big blue eyes, you stare too long, you get hypnotized. Hey, pretty mama, if you can see, have a cappuccino with me. Walking on the boardwalk, holding hands with you, or lying on the beach on the south.
CentralValleyTalk.com